Usually we first decide to Vivekananda through meditation, and then today's for this Mahajaya Mangal Path. Beautiful. So Bhagava Ariham Samma Sambuddhu Charan Sampanna Sugato Lokavidu Avuttaro Purusham Sarthi Sattva Sattvato Bhagavata Dhamma Sanditthiko Akaliko Ekasiko Kopaniko Pachetam Ekavo Vinyahiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaksangho Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaksangho Jayapatipanno Bhagavato Savaksangho Sarvajitipanno Bhagavato Savaksangho Chattari Purisargani Atta Purusapurdana Esa Bhagavato Savaksangho recite it. That's it. The traditional paritas. कारुणिकुनाथो हिताय सर्वकामिनां पूरयित्वा पारमी सदा भक्तो सम्बोधयमुत्तमम् एतेन सत्यवज्रेण होतु मे
The great merciful Lord, the God, for the good of all living beings, practiced all perfections and attained supreme enlightenment. By these true words, may joyous victory be mine.
यन्तो बोधियामुने सत्यानन्दविवर्धनो एवं मह्यं जयो होतु जयसु जयमङ्गलम्
He who enhanced the happiness of the Satyas, who was victorious at the foot of the Bodhi tree, likewise may there be victory to me, and may I ever be blessed.
सत्कत्वा बुद्धरतनं कोसधं उत्तमं वरम् इतं देवमनुसारं बुद्धतेजेन सुखिना नः सन्तु बद्धवा सर्वे दुःखावुपशमयन्तु मे
I revere the Buddha jewel, highest balm and best, ever beneficial to gods and men. By that Buddha's glory safely, may all obstacles and sufferings cease.
सत्कत्वा धर्मरतनं कोसधं उत्तमं वरम् परिलाभूपशमनं ब्रह्मतेजेन सुखिना नः सन्तु बद्धाः सर्वे भयावुपशमयन्तु ते
I revere the Dhamma jewel, highest balm and best, that cools down the heat. By the power of Dhamma safely, may all obstacles and fears cease.
सत्कत्वा सङ्घरतनं कोसधं उत्तमं वरम् आहुनेयं बाहुनेयं सङ्घतेजेन सुखिना नः सन्तु बद्धवा सर्वे योगावुपशमयन्तु ते
I revere the Sangha jewel, highest balm and best, worthy of offerings, worthy of hospitality. By the power of that Sangha, safely, may all my obstacles pass away. May all my diseases be cured.
किञ्चिरतनं लोके विद्यति विविधा पुत्री रत्नं बुद्धसमं नक्ति तस्मासुद्धि भवन्तु मे
Whatever diverse precious jewels there be in this universe, there is no jewel equal to the Buddha. By this truth, let me be prosperous.
यं किञ्चिरतनं लोके विद्यति विविधा पुत्री रत्नं धम्मसमं नक्ति तस्मासुद्धि भवन्तु ते
Whatever diverse precious jewels there be in this universe, there is no jewel equal to Dhamma. By this truth, let me be prosperous.
यं किञ्चिरतनं लोके विद्यति विविधा पुत्री रत्नं सङ्गसमं नक्ति तस्मासुद्धि भवन्तु
Whatever diverse precious jewels there be in this universe, there is no jewel equal to the Buddha. By this truth, let me be prosperous.
भक्ति मे शरणं अन्यं बुद्धो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच्चवज्रेण होतु मे जयमङ्गलम्।
There is no other refuge for me. Buddha is my matchless refuge. By these true words, may joyous victory be mine.
भक्ति में शरणं मन्यं धम्मो मे शरणं मम। एतेन सच्चवज्रेण होतु मे जयमङ्गलम्।
There is no other refuge for me. The Dhamma is my matchless refuge. By these words, may joyous victory be mine.
भक्ति में शरणं मन्यं संඝो मे शरणं मम। एतेन सच्चवज्रेण होतु मे जयमङ्गलम्।
There is no other refuge for me. Sangha is my matchless refuge. By these true words, joyous victory be mine.
संदीप्तियो विवर्धन्तु सर्वरोगो विनश्यतु माते भवतु अन्तरायो सुखी दीर्घायुको भव।
May all calamities be warded off. May all illness be dispelled. May no obstacles hinder me. May I live long and happily.
भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वबुद्धानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु मे।
May all good fortune come my way. May all the deities protect me. By all power of the Buddha, may I always enjoy well-being.
भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वधर्मानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु मे।
May all good fortune come my way. May all the deities protect me. By all the power of the Dhamma, may I always enjoy well-being.
भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वसङ्गानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु मे।
May all good fortune come my way. May all the deities protect me. By all the power of the Sangha, may I always enjoy well-being.
The next one is to be recited 3 times. Nakhatayakhabhutanam papakahanivarana parithasanubhavena antumate samupadhave. Nakhatayakhabhutanam papakahanivarana parithasanubhavena antumate samupadhave. Nakhatayakhabhutanam papakahanivarana parithasanubhavena antumate samupadhave.
By the power of these protective verses, may my misfortunes be destroyed, troubles due to stars and demons, harmful spirits and ominous planets.
देवो वसतु कालेन सस्य सम्पत्तिहेतु च हितो भवतु लोको च राजा भवतु धनिको।
May rain fall in due time, may there be a rich harvest, may the world be prosperous, may the government be righteous.
सर्वे बुद्धा बलवत्ता रक्षं बन्धानि सर्वशो।
By the power of Almighty Buddhas, I secure protection in every way.
This is one of the traditional Kalkas famous in Sri Lanka. Study our Sutta every day. Danda Sutta. Bhakti means listening, Danda means holding a stick in the hand. So this is it. The commentaries tell us about the story associated is the time when the Buddha came to know that his relatives were fighting over the river water.
River water.
Between Sakyans and Kuryans. There was a river water which was in short supply and they were making a war to take the water towards them. So Buddha went there and said that he put himself above both the warring armies in the sky between them in the river, over the river, and then gave them a discourse pointing out the dangers of fighting, and then they apparently stopped. So not only they stopped, quite a few of them became arhats.
Just before they were fighting.
Yes, they went with him to the great forest and then eventually so we'll start with the first verse. Atta danda bhayam yatam janam tasya medham samvegam kiti sami yatha samvijitam maya. So Atta means my danda means weapons. Yes, fear arises from one's own weapons. Right? Because when you look at people who are killing each other, it says samvegam kiti sami yatha samvijitam. I will tell you about the remorse which I have personally seen and overcome when I saw people killing each other.
Vandamanam pajam visva macche appodake yatha anyamanyehi vyarudhe disvabham भयमसि।
आसी अंदमानम मतलब फंदे में जैसे पजम जैसे जो प्राणी है वो उसे जैसे मछली फंदे में फंस जाती है एंड बच्चे अपोद के जस्ट फिश इज in a pond with very little water and as if it's caught in a net. Anyamanye vyarudhe. Seeing in the same manner, we see people who are obstructing each other. So fish will obstruct each other in getting that little amount of water. And seeing people fighting with each other in that way, Swamam bhayam avisi. Fear came over me on seeing this state of the people.
समन्तं असारो लोको दिशा सर्वे समेरिता इच्छं भवन्तं अतनो नद्यसस्यं अनुसितं.
Samantam asaro loko. The whole world is completely unsubstantial. Sar nahi hai. Disa sabba samerita. And all kinds of disha. Sari dishaएं जो है ना कंपायमान they are not stable. They are shaken. All waters are shaken. This basically impermanent. Ichcham bhavanam mattanam नादस्यम अनुसितम. I didn't see any इच्छा कर रहे थे कोई एक ऐसी जगह मिल जाए जहाँ पे शांति से बैठ सके. I couldn't see any place where it was not uninhabited. Now uninhabited has been interpreted as uninhabited by old age and sickness and death. That's the interpretation. So they are the same obstruction of various kinds. So having seen all the beings, obstructed by this old age, illness and death, this Swami Arati, discontent arose in me. Seeing this, discontent arose in me. Atheta Sallam Adviktim. Then I saw that there was an arrow which is stuck. Tuddasam Hadayan Nisita. But though it is stuck in the heart, it is very difficult to see that arrow of craving and lust. ये न सल्लेन उत्तीर्ण, जिसके अंदर शूल जो है, सल्लेन शूल घुस गया है जिसके अंदर, दिशा सबा विविध थी, वो चारों तरफ दिशाओं में भागता रहता है. So one who is pierced by the arrow will run in all the possible directions. Tamev sallam abhuya, but na dhavati na sidati. But if he was to take out that arrow, then he will not have to run here or sink in despair. And so that is the solution to the problem. तथा सिक्खान दीयन्ति. From this is what you should seek. सीखना चाहिए. This is what you should learn. यानि लोके गदितानि न तेषु पशुतोषिया. Let will not be attached to this world. Let him not personal attachment to this world. न तेषु पशुतोषिया. Let him not bind himself to Nibbijja sabbasho kame sikhe nibbana mattano. So he is disenchanted with all sense pleasures. Then one should train oneself in attaining the nibbana.
Satchosya apagabho amayo vrittapesano apodhano logapapam vivicham vittare muni.
Satchosya, let him be truthful. Appagabho, without any arrogance. Amayo, which is without any deceit, no maya. Vrittapesano, is free from slanders. Akkodano, not angry. Logo papam, loga and greed and avarice. Yevicham vitrema, one should give it up, overcome it, and dwell in that. So let one be truthful, without arrogance, undeceitful, not slanderous, not angry, and let the Muni overcome greed and avarice. Niddam tandim sahethinam amadena na sambase atimanena titteya nibbanam manaso naram. So Niddam tandim sahethinam. Niddam means need, tandim means tandra, sahan kare, thinam means sleepiness. Pamadena samvase, pamad में न रहे. Atimane, excessive conceit, you should not stay there. Nibbanam manasona, don't move in that direction of Nibbana. So that the man who has turned his mind to Nibbana conquers sleepiness, drowsiness, sloth. Let him not give way to indolence, and let him not indulge in conceit.
Usupajjena
Niyeta.
Rupe sneham na kubbaye manancha parijaneya sahasa viruddho jay.
Musa Vijjena Niyeta. Let him not lead himself towards falsehood. Rupe sneham na kubbaye. Let him not be have snake for rupa. Let him not have affection for rupa. Of the forms, various kinds of forms. Manancha parijjaneya. Let him see through. He is saying, man, he should see through that. He should see through the arrogance. He is not saying should kill it or destroy it. Let him see through the arrogance. Sahasa viratochare, and let him well abstaining from violence of all kinds. Hinsa.
Puranam Nabhi Nandeya Nave Tunin Na Kubeye Ya Nunye Na Sochaya Akasam Na Sito Siya.
Puranam Nadu Nande, that whatever is old, let him not delight in what is old. Sometimes we have that romantic views about the old things. Nave Kantin Kubbe, let him be not even be contented with what is new, meaning contented in the sense of resting, becoming indolent about it. Yamane na soche, let him not grieve for what is lost. Akasam na sitosya, let him not give himself to any kind of a desire. Akasha is the sky, but craving is also said to be Akasha. So let him not give himself to any kind of desire. Gedam means greed, Brumi, Mahabhuti. Mahaoga means full. So I call greed as the greatest flood. Ajavam Brumi Jappanam. And Jappanam means attachment. Anchoring I call as great attachment. Arammanam Pakampannam. Arammanam means hanging on, object actually, hanging on to objects. Kama Panko Durachya. It's like Panko means featured. It's like this swamp of Kama is very difficult to cross.
संचा उत्कम मुनि थले तिथिति ब्राह्मणों सप्पम सोपटी निश्चय सवे संतुति
Satya means truth. Avok Kamana Muni, one who does not deviate from truth. Hale Tithati Brahmano, and he stands fast on the firm ground of Nibbana. Sabbam Sopati Nissajja, he has given up, forsaken everything. Saveva Santoti Uchate, such a person is indeed called a calm person. Savi Vidvas Vedam. Such a person is Vidwan, and Vedam means fully accomplished, is wise and accomplished. Nyatva, knowing Dhamma and Nisita, who has known the Dhamma and is completely independent. Nisita, kisi ka ashrit nahi. Samma Soloke Iryana, who moves around in the world equanimously. Na pihitir idhar kasyachi, kisi ko bhi he has no envy with respect to anybody. You either kame achyata, one who has crossed over the lust. Sangham loke durachyam, which is very difficult to do away in this world. Not so sochati nachati, he does not grieve, neither he wants anything, covets. Chinna soto abandhano, he is cut off the stream of existence, and he is free from all bounds. Sare bandhano se.
Yam dubbe tam visosehi achate mahu kinjanam nadhyacheno gassa gahe sassi pasanto charisasi.
Yampa Kubbena dissociate. Whatever is earlier, let there be nothing which is behind you. Pachate Mahu Kinchanam, and leave the future also to one side. Madhye chena gaho sesi, whatever is there in the middle, even that you don't grasp. Which means even now, present situation also you should not grasp. Upasanto charissasi, then you would be able to dwell calmly. Sabbasो nama rupasmin yatha yasya natti mamayikam asata chena sochati save loke na jiyati. So sabbasो नाम रूपस्म, सारे तरह के जो नाम और रूप है, one who does not यस्य नत्थि ममायिका, who does not identify himself with any name and form, asatacena sochati, and what is not there, he does not have any show grief for that, save lokena jiyati, so he does not go in deprivation in this world, he doesn't become despondent in this world, he does not grieve over what is not there.
यस्सन्ति इदं मेति परेशंवापि किञ्चनं ममत्तं सो असंविन्दं नत्थिमेति न सोचति।
यस्य नत्थि इदं मेति, जो सोचता है कि मेरा यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं है, नथिंग परेशम वापि किंचन, he doesn't even think that that belongs to them. Mamattam so asamviddam, he doesn't have any feeling of mine, isn't mamattam. Natti meti sochati, he does not think that I have anything, and he does not grieve at that, such a thought, मेरे पास कुछ नहीं, नत्थि मेति, मेरे पास तो कुछ भी नहीं है, thinking that he does not grieve.
अनिचतुरी अनाकितो अनेचो सभाति तमो तमानि सम्मम पब्रूनि कुचितो अविकम्पिन।
कुछ तो पूछना जो अभिकम्पनम, कौन सा ऐसा आदमी जो नहीं कंपायमान होगा. So when you ask about a man who is unshakable, अनिष्ठुरी अनुगिद्धो, so it says who is this, who is not निष्ठुर नहीं है, is not harsh, अनुगिद्धो is not greedy, अनेजो is free from desire, सब्बदी समो, equanimous under all circumstances, tam nisansam pabhumi, that person I call that man who is unshakable. Amejasya vijanata, who is who knows and who is knowledgeable or a man of discernment, anejasya, he is free from any desires, natti kachi visankha, he does not accumulate anything, accumulates goods as well as karma. Actually, from that perspective, the commentary says accumulate should refers to karma. Viratosu vyarabha, he has stopped all kinds of efforts, he has stopped, meaning doership is ended. Khemam pasati sabbati, he sees safety and peace everywhere.
न समेषु न आकोमेषु न उत्सेषु पतते मुनि संतोषो वीतमच्छरो नातेति न निरसति.
So this is the same thing which you listened in last few suttas also. Na samesu, na omesu, na ussesu. He does not vadati muni. He does not call himself either equal to others or greater than, better than others or inferior to others. Santoso vitamachano. So such a person is calm and free from any vatsarya, any embarrass. Nadeti na nirasati. He does not hold on to anything, nor does he reject anything. So this is the Attadanda Sutta.
दशरथ जब की सुलह करवा रहे थे तो उन्होंने इतना अजीब क्यों सुना दिया उनके सामने?
मुख्य उद्देश्य तो वही था कि सिर्फ सुलह पीस ना हो, आगे के लिए भी रास्ता खुल जाए ना. So as the story says, at the end of discourse, 500 Sakyan and Kolian princes became Ehi Bhikkhu monks. At that very moment, they were admitted into the order, and then they went along with the Blessed One into the great forest. So we have been studying this Pratyasamutpana for quite some time. We have been, last time we studied about various other variants and especially focused on Mahanidana Sutta, which is generally considered to be the most profound sutta, not only from point of view of explanation of Pratyasamutpana, but even in the whole Pali Tripitaka. It has a very deep implications from not only from the Pratyasamutpana doctrine, but also from understanding the nature of reality. So it has been commented upon in a variety of ways by different people, and it's your choice which one you choose. Many people have avoided the complications and taken this simple route, but Venerable Jnanananda has tried to give a deep implication for that, which I found very good. So I've been discussing that very well last time. Maybe we'll, I think, recall it quickly again. The key thing in Mahanidana Sutta, which distinguishes it from others, is that it is based on the Buddha recalls the path taken by the ancient Buddha Vipassi 91 eons before, and he recalls the way in which he broke through the nature of enlightenment, attained awakening. And he says he started from the present state and started inquiring that there is so much of old age and suffering and death. What is the condition? Why is it happening? So naturally, in a meditation deep, you could figure out that birth is the jati patyaya jarama. Person is born, then he will have to go through it. There is no solution. That is absolutely basic condition is if a person is born, he will have to go through illness, old age, death, and suffering. So then he reflected on, okay, why is a person born? Then he said, bhava patyaya jati, which we have already discussed. Then why does bhava happen? Upadan happen, tanha happen, Vedana happen because sense contact, phassa. And then phassa happens because of Nam Rupa. So he has omitted Salayatan and gone directly to Nam Rupa. But Nam Rupa means actually interaction with the world through the body and mind. So that's not a big deviation. Then how does Nam Rupa get conditioned? Vijnanam Patyaya Nam Rupa. This also we have studied a number of times because it is the standard formulation. Now the next step is non-standard formulations, and he says, what is it that conditions Vijnana? He says Nama Rupa Patyaya Vijnana. And so the question arises that Nama Rupa is and Vijnanam are Anyamanya Patyaya. Now if you recall when we discussed the conditionalities, I have already mentioned this fact that Vijnana and Nama Rupa mutually conditioning each other. If Nama is not present, Vijnana will not be there. And if Vijnana is present, Nama will certainly be there. So they are mutually conditioning. And the Buddha Vipassi stopped at this point. It said, yeah, this is the real cause. Because this is what is visible to all of us in the present life. It didn't go beyond that, what happens in the past life. So this is what he said. There is a reciprocal conditionality of Vijnana and Nama. And said, this is the hidden vortex which is underlying whole samsaric becoming. And therefore, we get trapped in this Nama Rupa and Vijnana stream. In this vortex, we keep on getting trapped, and then we can't get out of it unless we see where exactly the bandhan, where exactly the bondage is. So this issue of has been very deeply tried to be figured out. How does this Nama-Rupa interrelationship work, and what does it really imply? And there is, of course, unfortunate confusion about even what Nama is. And sadly, in the Vishuddhimagga, mistake has been committed, and Nama is defined as all the four khandas other than the Rupa. So normally we think of that. No? We say
Vijnana is already part of it.
yeah. So he has put Vijnana also as a part of it, and which creates a lot of confusion. So then all his explanations have gone haywire. So this has been pointed out by Venerable Jnanananda that commentaries have got confused in this, because Nama is not Vijnana includes. Nama is only, and there is a clear-cut definition of Nama given by Sariputta in some of his courses, that Nama is actually Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Hasa and Mansikara. And if you see from a Vidhamma perspective, these are the 5 of the universal mental factors. The other factors have been omitted, life force, because life force is, we're talking of living beings, so probably that has been ignored. And the ekagata, because that is again seen as a part of attention. So Nama are essentially like these universal mental factors, which are other than Vijnana. When we say Vijnana Pachya Namarupa, they can't be Vijnana, you cannot have Vijnana in Namarupa also. So that has therefore created a lot of confusion in the literature about this sutta. So it is.
So then is it only in the commentaries of Visuddhimagga, or it's already in the Visuddhimagga?
No, it is in the Visuddhimagga.
The Visuddhimagga is a commentary.
Called the main commentary. It's called as the first and the great commentary. And you find it also, in normal explanations also we use that fact. When we say Nam Rupa, we see Nama means mind, Rupa means body. So Nam Rupa we take as the complete 5 khandas, which is not correct. And therefore we get into confusion. And when you try to analyze it, then you will have confusion, because what is going on? Then you will have to invent some meanings to the others. And therefore the whole meanings, as Jnanananda has pointed out, all meanings have gone haywire. So he's therefore pointed it out, and others have later followed. Bhikkhu Bodhi has also agreed to that, and others are slowly coming in terms of that. The key thing there, we know about Rupa anyway. The key thing which is being pointed out is, and this is pointed out by the Buddha himself, which has again been very difficult for people to comprehend. He talks of 2 kinds of contacts. There is Hassa. One is that Adhivachana Sampassa and Pratigha Sampassa. Adhivachana means verbal. So it is a question of impression or designation of the contact. And Pratigha means which hits us, which impinges on us, on resistance, which offers resistance. So this has been a big mystery. What is all this going on? So again, Venerable Jnanananda has brought out very clearly, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Even Buddha has hinted that in that manner, but it needs a great insightful person to point it out. That what we call as Rupa is actually Rupa Sanya. And now modern psychologists, philosophers also agree, and modern science also agrees, that the world of form outside which we see, what we learn from it is the subjective view of the form given by Nama. So when the form impinges on our Nama, then we know what it is. And we get a shape, we get we have the feelings, primary feeling meaning, feeling at all the sense doors. We like it, dislike it, then there is a form which we give it to it, then we touch it and we get certain idea, this is hard, this is soft, then we see it is hot, it is cold. So these are the ways by which we are able to recognize the world around. So we are not really knowing the world as it is, but the world as it is revealed to us by senses. So the objectivity of the world is therefore unquestioned. the world which we are saying. So we remember we had studied Fena Sutta where Buddha has pointed out consciousness is like magic. So Venerable Nyanananda has written a small booklet on the magic of mind and pointed out how this consciousness acts like a magic. And it has been a big query in science going on. What is this thing called consciousness? And all that. So when he says Patigha Sampassa, it means that how do we know the world? The world has to first impinge on us. So that is what is meant by Patigha Sampassa, that is contact by impingement. And then we respond to it, we designate it. Oh, this is flower, this is beautiful, this is water, this is tree, this is human being, this is woman, this is man. That is our verbal designation. So this is what it means is by the Adhivachana Sampassa. When you just verbally designate and just based on that perception, then you respond to that situation. You respond to the world outside based on the designation which you give, the so-called perception, which we normally call as perception. So he says this is how we are interacting with the world, and we are living we think that what we are doing in the world outside is an objective reality, but it doesn't have any objective reality other than what is revealed to us by our sense domain, by the Nama Rupa and Vijnana put together. So that of course is a very major issue which is quite revolutionary, which we need to really think. And of course now after so many years modern science also comes to the conclusion that the world which we know of and say this as an objective reality is not really so, because this is a reality as revealed to us by our senses, and our senses have a certain limitation, so we can see only in that region. As I had pointed out last time, if we have senses had a larger, for example, vision, the animals, many of the animals have a much higher range of visual fields. So snakes can see in infrared vision. So that's how in the night they can catch hold of a frog and eat. Poor frog doesn't have that ability to see that there is a snake around. We know all bats have supersonic ability of listening in the supersonic range. Elephants can listen up to 2 hertz. Human beings can't listen 2 hertz sound. For them 2 hertz is just like this. So different species have different abilities. Some say the underwater sharks have the ability to listen up to megahertz. So we can't really figure out what's going on. So the world as seen by them, it is of course a philosophic conjecture, world as seen by them would therefore be totally different from what we see as the world. And we know, for example, colorblind people see the world in a totally different manner. So we all agree on objective reality because all of us have got the same limitation of senses. And we say, oh, this is what it is. And people who get great psychic powers, for them the world appears in a totally different manner. Absolutely different manner. For us it is a solid wall. There's a story of Deepama walking through it, which is of modern times, not of ancient times. So obviously her perception of this would be totally different. It is governed by the state of the mind. So that's the point being made here, which is that
then how to see the world?
How means we have to understand firstly what it is, and the way we see it is only a perception. It is only not the absolute reality. So we live within that perception. We don't take it to be absolute reality. So whatever is our perception, we live within that. What can we do? We can't assume things to be otherwise. We can't behave like Deepama and say we'll walk through the wall. We'll be in trouble. We'll break our head. So as our perception changes, we'll behave accordingly.
So there was this question from Shailesh, that doesn't feelings and perceptions, etc., imply consciousness needs to be there?
Yeah, they are all always present. That's why it is said, no? Consciousness and Namarupa will always be present together. They can't remain separate. You see? If you remember when we started studying Abhidhamma, we had said consciousness is like a king, and just as a king never goes alone, he has his own courtiers along with him. So that was the analogy given. All the सैनिक जो है राजा के उसके साथ ही चलेंगे ना, तो अकेला राजा कभी नहीं सड़क पे जाएगा. So that is the analogy given, that consciousness will always be accompanied by certain mental factors, and 7 of them are universal, so they will always be there. They are like the, what should I say, energy. modern terminology. They will not leave the king anyway, whether he likes it or not. Then there are others also, wholesome factors, unwholesome factors. They will also keep on joining depending on the state of the mind of the king. So you can visualize in that manner. So as is I have summarized in the 38th slide, if there were no characteristic proper to nama, no verbal impression about rupa is possible. So if we didn't have the ability of feelings, perception, there's no various consciousnesses arising, there's no way that we could have any idea about the world outside. And similarly, if there are no characteristic of form, there would not be any resistance impression on the nama. Which means, if there was no world outside, the mental faculties also would not have any, will not be able to find out what mental faculties we have. If there is nothing in the world outside, what is the perception you will have, and what feelings will you have, and what kind of chetana will have? There will be no volition, no feelings, no perception. So they are both intertwined, and the Sariputta's simile of the two reeds holding on each other is seen to be the ideal one. इससे दो बांस के डंडे ऐसे रख दें, एक गिरेगा तो दूसरा अपने आप गिर जाएगा, एक रहेगा तो दूसरा भी रुका रहेगा. So that's the kind of example he used first.
Resistance impression.
Resistance impression is a translation. It's actually the impingement would be a better word. That the external world has to impinge on our senses. He has used the Patigha as a literal translation is resistance. Fighting. Patigha means hatred. Resistance. So the point which the way is resistance what is used is that it is like a blind man. He goes into and hits an object, he gets a resistance. Or says, yeah, this is hardness, this is softness. Then he goes and hits and he gets heat. So he is a resistance offered of heat, cold. So in that sense it is seen impingement or resistance offered by the form.
So Silesh asked this question. So why Vishuddhimagga is incorrect in saying that Nama has consciousness?
Because it is Vijnana. Vijnana, that's a different thing. Vijnana Pachya Nama Rupa, there is a different. They are existing together, it does not make them same. Vijnana has the quality of cognition, pure knowing, seeing, hearing, touch, smelling, pure knowing. The feeling which arises, the perception which arises, the volition which arises based on that knowing and other, they are also adjuncts to it. So they are not same. One is the process of knowing, other is the process of feeling. So they are different abilities.
Any reason for Vishuddhimagga?
I don't know. That's the way it is.
So with that kind of understanding of Vijnana, it becomes very close to pure consciousness.
Which way?
If it is pure awareness, pure knowing,
Yeah, that's
then how the Ajahn Sumedho says pure awareness.
it does not exist. It does not exist other than, if we can, that's why it is said, if we can be free from all craving, aversion, wholesome and unwholesome mental factors, then we abide in that.
तो उसमें सेंस फियर कॉन्शियसनेस और प्योर कॉन्शियसनेस सेम हो जाती है. उस परिस्थिति में सेंस फियर कॉन्शियसनेस और प्योर कॉन्शियसनेस सेम हो जाती है.
It is not, even in that state, in the state of Nibbana, there is another domain of consciousness which is talked of in Anidasana Vijnana. That comes here also. Because it is, Venerable Jnanananda has pointed it out, so he brings that issue out about that. Consciousness can find footing and consciousness may not be able to find footing. So that I think will come, the discussion will come later. So otherwise there will be a confusion in discussion sequence. So let me go in that sequence. So the point being made is that there are these two types of contact where they represent the basic oscillatory nature of experience. Its movement back and forth between receptive phase, which is vipaka chitta arising as a result of impingement, and responsive phase involving new karma due to designation followed by action. So this is the kind of a summary of what is happening in our everyday life. Day-to-day life, what is happening is essentially this. So then, of course, the example which Buddha uses is repeated in slide number 39. This is actually Sutta is in response to Ananda's comment that I understand the Paticca Samutpada very clearly, and Buddha tells him that don't say so, and then this whole discourse comes up. So
he knows that he doesn't understand fully.
it's because he's still Sotapanna. So he tells him that don't say so. It has very great depths. So we get an idea of the depths there. But he's asking, he's not telling anything. He's asking questions from Ananda and getting response from him. That is the standard procedure which he uses. So through that he asks, if Vijnana were not to descend in mother's womb, would Namrupa take shape? If Vijnana were not to gain footing in Namrupa, would the birth take place? So that's how he tries to explain Namrupa Pachya Vijnanam and Vijnana Pachya Namrupa. This is what we had discussed last time also. Then we come to the 40th. What are the implications? Implication is that Namrupa is merely a reflection on Vijnana. Nama is in fact Sahajata Pachya, we have already discussed that. And this brings us a middle way between the philosophy of eternalism and annihilation. Eternalism is one where we think of a consciousness and which is always there. Annihilationism is one where we think that after the death of the body nothing remains. So this brings about an intermediate, middle path between them. That the Namarupa Pachya Vijnanam, Vijnana Pachya Namarupa. So neither the material world nor the mental world has any independent existence. So the whole world is therefore in the when we read that Dhammapada, Mano Kubangama Dhamma, Mano Setha, Manomaya. So that Manomaya actually means the whole world is built up of Mana, the mind. So what world we perceive is actually what is revealed to us in our mind. The mind meaning in that sense the consciousness there. So what we perceive by our senses is therefore not the actual object over there, but its reflection in our consciousness and Namarupa put together. And we unfortunately keep on chasing them there. So as I put down here, the objects of sense which we grasp and recognize as existing out there actually derive their object status from their impact or their evocating power. So Jnanananda ji points out that actually there are no things outside there. There is actually greed, aversion and delusion. That's all. So
उल्टा हो गया अंदर है things बाहर हैं.
Says what we see outside is the result of our greed, aversion and delusion. That's all. Otherwise there is nothing outside.
Reflection.
It is a reflection of Vijnana and reflection. So there is nothing there. And I mean, if you reflect deeply, you can see the sense what is it trying to say. If you don't have any greed, aversion and delusion, the world will be meaningless for us. It will just simply, if you're seeing it, fine, that's okay. You will not ascribe meaning to it, give value to it, give perception and then fight over it or fight over grasping it or fight over giving it up. Both the ways are there. One attitude of attaching, holding on to it, and another attitude, I should throw it away, I chipak na jaun kahin. Bhavatrishna, Vibhavatrishna both operates basically because of giving importance to the world outside. And how do we give importance to the world outside? Because of these craving. So there is a sutta of the Buddha where he says, and Venerable Jnanananda's great thing is that he always quotes Buddha to point out what he is saying. So there is a sutta which he quotes that what are the things? Ananda again, Ananda is the key factor who brings out such questions. He says craving is a thing, aversion is a thing, delusion is a thing. That's it. So what are the implications? We have already discussed 41, that there is a distortion in the process of cognition due to defilements, and therefore we can't know the reality as it is. So the photograph is no more accurate than the camera mechanism. That's the example given. And Bhikkhu Bodhi has made a very beautiful statement in his book. He has written a complete commentary on this discourse called Great Discourse in Causation, where I have taken this paragraph from there. I found it very insightful. When feeling is seized upon as food for desire, when perception becomes a scanning device for finding pleasures and avoiding threats to you, when volition is driven by greed and hatred, when attention flits about unsteadily, we can hardly expect the mental body to reflect the world as it really is. So, points out the almost impossibility of an unenlightened being being able to see the world as it really is. And as I've said, the modern science also recognizes the impossibility of knowing it. So then, Venerable Nanananda gives a very interesting simile. He says consciousness has the quality of reflection as in case of water. Because of the quality of reflection, Nam and Rupa are reflected on it. The world takes it to be real, mistaking it for actual Nam and Rupa, and that is the beginning of all confusion. So actually, we are not getting Rupa, we are getting Rupa Sanya, perception of Rupa as revealed to us. So the example, similarly he gives is of a dog in a plank on a pond. So there's a plank on the pond and a dog is there, and dog sees the reflection there and he thinks there is a dog inside, and then he fights with the dog. So he says not understanding this is the fundamental ignorance. So what is happening? The dog thinks that there is a dog inside in the water and he is shouting at them. But he doesn't realize that the dog inside the water is because he is looking at it. If he does not look at the water, there will be no dog. So the analogy he says is that if dog were to understand, it is not that I look because I see, but that I see because I look. I see the dog there because I look at it. If I don't look at it, there is no dog. It's the same is the state of our predicament, that because of consciousness being has a reflective quality, we get into trouble and we see the world outside.
So why is the Rupa included in that reflection? Nama is included, that is fair enough.
Because Rupa is
Quality of
also
reflection.
perceived through Nama. No? There is no way that we can perceive Rupa.
Sorry. Why is Nama included there? Why is Nama included?
Because that's also the quality of consciousness.
But Rupa gets, it is good to understand that Rupa is being reflected in Nama. Because of, as
but
Nam Sanya.
but Nama is reflected from Vijnana. Basically, they are all reflected from Vijnana. Because Vijnana is the primary cognition ability. And all these other factors are associates which come up from Vijnana. Because of the cognition, we have feeling and the perception and aversions. He gives another example. He gives is of the example of Narcissus, which you have heard. You must be aware of that myth of Narcissus, that a person who falls in love with his own reflection and he sees the reflection in water and he sees it and falls in love with it, wants to grab hold of it and eventually dies in that.
So this is a question from Shailesh. Quantum physics, Schrodinger's cat. Is it what sir is talking about?
It is the cat is an example of probability and all kinds of. We are not talking of in that exactly in that sense, but I mean, literally we are not talking of that, but figuratively something similar, but not exactly that, because that is more of a mathematical imagery which has been created. This is mental imagery which has been created.
But so these things start to relate to each other
Yeah.
when we go to at quantum level.
Yeah, at that level, if you operate, then there would obviously there's entanglement and all those issues come up in the same sense.
And the observer observed phenomena. This is exactly what I think
Yeah.
we
Which is being pointed out purely on the basis of seeing process of the recognition, understanding Abhidhamma in depth. You can see that this is what is happening. Normally we don't reflect in that manner.
I think this is also reflecting at, at the quantum level. There is no absolute object to be observed without the observer being there. So it is the object is there because I am observing it.
Same thing,
The
dog.
same thing.
Dog is, that's
There
a
it is.
very powerful example.
Yeah.
The dog is looking at water, he says there is a dog and he fights with it and ultimately jumps and drowns. So that simile is very powerful.
अभी डूबते हैं फिर तो अभी तो ऐसे डूबते हैं
Yeah, we take that as real, उसको सत्य मान के और उसमें छलांग मार जाते हैं. And keep on going. So what is being therefore said is, between Namarupa and Vijnana, the worldlings keep running round and round in vain. Wisdom is comprehending consciousness, seeing its condition arising and passing away. And Yoniso Manasikara is the tool for developing wisdom. Because we have a wrong attention, we don't give proper attention, we see things wrongly and then we end up wrongly.
So how does wisdom defined or categorized in Dhamma?
Anya,
So, but
Amoha. It is use the mental factor is Amoha. We had Alobha, Adosha. These are universal mental factors in wholesome consciousness. Amoha is occasionally present. That's very important to remember for all of us. That we may be in moha even when we are doing satipatthana.
मोहा इन what sense?
Delusion, I am doing it. That is a fundamental delusion. So what therefore the conclusion is evident is that if you free the mind of attachment to Nam Rupa, it will lead to cessation of Vijnana. So that is this point is of course brought out in another sutta, the Mahapadana Sutta, which is preceding this. This is 15th sutta in Divinagaya, Mahapadana Sutta in the 14th sutta, where the stories of this Buddha Vipassi and all that is given. He also comes to the same conclusion, stops at that place.
There is a question from Shailesh. Running around Vijnana. What does it mean here?
They are wanting to always to see things, to see, to hear, to smell, to touch, to think. That's what all the time our senses are outward going and seeing, feeling, touching, smelling, deriving conclusions out of the world, because the world outside is so important. And we take it as objective reality which is impinging on us, and therefore we give it importance. We give it importance and therefore that gets attached to it, and we have a perception about it, then we name it in this manner, it is good, this is bad, this is not, this should be, this should not be there. And then we are trapped in that very whole magic of consciousness. It keeps on trapping us. So in the next, I think that part is explained more clearly. Consciousness gets a footing in Namarupa due to intention, latent tendency of craving. When these are absent, there is no object for stationing of consciousness. Now, in one of the suttas we had studied earlier, Yancha bhikkhave cheteti, yancha pakappati, yancha anuseti, arambanametam, hoti vinyanasya triptiya. So, ज्ञान का स्थिर होना का कारण क्या है? It was in the slide 26, I have written there. Whenever a bhikkhu, we cheteti, we have an intention about something. Yancha pakappati, we plan about or imagine about something. Yancha anuseti, when we have a latent tendency of craving. Whenever we have that, then consciousness will find a footing in the Namarupa, and then it can be in the, that is what leads to birth, rebirth, again and again and again. And cessation of consciousness refers to cessation of made up of consciousness. It's not death. That's a very important point which is brought out by Venerable Jnanananda. And there is quite an interesting sutta which he quotes. I have not written that number. It is the discussion of Venerable Sariputta with Venerable Mahakotanda. The two arhants talking to each other, probably asking questions and getting answers for our benefit. So he tells him, what is Nibbana, and he goes on sequentially explaining this is what happens. He says cessation of becoming is Nibbana. But at that time, friend, I was conscious of this. He is conscious of cessation of consciousness. Isn't it amazing?
नहीं तो फिर वो तो होगा ही ना.
He says cessation of becoming is Nibbana. Here then is a consciousness of the very cessation of consciousness. Though well nigh a contradiction, it is yet a possibility. Because consciousness, which we normally call consciousness, is this sense sphere consciousness. And that's what he points out. Since Anidassana Vijnana doesn't manifest Nam Rupa, the 6 sense spheres, contact, feeling and rest of it all fall. So he's pointing out that it is the Anidassana Vijnana is the one which is experienced by an Arhat in that state of Nibbana.
अगर निब्बान की कॉन्शियसनेस नहीं रहेगी, जिस समय निब्बान को प्राप्त कर रहे हैं उसकी अवेयरनेस कॉन्शियसनेस नहीं रहेगी, तो फिर वो ट्रैप नहीं होगा.
नॉर्मली तो हम यही सोचते हैं ना, जब हम कहते हैं विज्ञान अविद्या स्वेद विषाद निरोधा विज्ञान निरोध अविद्या निरोधा संखार निरोध संखार निरोधा विज्ञान निरोध विज्ञान निरोधा नाम रूप निरोध. ना विज्ञान निरोधा से हम मतलब समझते हैं खत्म हो गया विज्ञान, so he has become free from विज्ञान. It's not that. That's the point being made. It's that subtle issues being explained. It's not that the person has become unconscious. His 6 senses, he has withdrawn himself from 6 senses, but he is conscious, he is aware in a different dimension. So that is what is the explanation of Anidassana Vijnana. There is that example given in another sutta, that if the light is coming from a window, where will it fall? He asks, as usual, Ananda. He says it falls on the floor. So if there is no floor, he says it will go and fall on that other wall, somewhere it will be. He says there is no wall, then where will it go? Then it will not find any footing, it will not be there, there will be no footing for it. He says this is exactly what is meant by consciousness not finding a footing. So he says that is what is the Anidassana Vijnana experience. The person is conscious, he is not dead, but he is not conscious from the point of view of Namarupa. All his 6 senses have stopped operating, but he is still conscious there. That is the Anidassana Vijnana which is operating. So that's what I have taken it from that book. I have taken that passage. Instead of a consciousness of objects, here we have a consciousness which is without an object or support. Whereas under normal circumstances, consciousness mirrors or manifests something. In this concentration, it is non-manifestative. It is as though in a moment of detached contemplation, one has become aware of raging fire, whereby formerly one had noticed only the stockpile of the firewood. So all the sustaining firewood is not being seen, only fire is seen. So there is a scene, but none of the support system is seen. So that is what he means by. So that is, he is able to bring together that mystery of Anidassana Vijnana in this manner, which I think is very convincing and sounds very, removes many of the questions which have been there in the mind regarding Spaticca Samutpada.
So Shailesh has a question. For Arhat, there is no becoming. And so, what sustains life in this lifetime?
The past sankharas which are left, the remaining sankharas which are left.
But they will
All
come up
sankharas
as becoming only.
Yes, in the form of the Vipaka Chittas of various kinds. But they are all, these Chittas will be all functional. They will only operate at a functional level. Because all craving, aversion, delusion is gone, so it operates at a functional level. Things are felt, things are happening. The clear example which you have seen is that of Mahamoggalana. The sankhara of how many eons ago of his having killed his parents comes to the surface at that particular moment in when he is having such huge psychic powers. And he is killed in that brutal manner.
अरहत होने से पहले
बहुत कई युगों पहले उन्होंने अपने माता पिता का जहर दे दिया था अपनी पत्नी के कहने. महामोगलान जो कॉन्शियसनेस चल रही है, जो महामोगलान के रूप में प्रकट हुई, तो वो कर्म फल का, उस कर्म का फल अब जाके आया. क्योंकि वो सारे जीवन अच्छे ही कर्म करते रहे ना, उनको मौका ही नहीं आया। तो उस कर्म का फल अब मौका आया व्हेन ही वाज फुल्ली एनलाइटेंड बीइंग। एट दैट टाइम सम जो उनके अपोनेंट्स थे, जो उन्होंने उनको रॉबर्स को भेजा उनको मारने के लिए।
फुल्ली एनलाइटेंड बीइंग थे तो फिर क्यों वो आया?
कर्म तो बचा हुआ है ना, रेजिड्यू है ना। वही पूछ रहे थे ना कि वो अगर कर्म नहीं है तो मर क्यों नहीं जाता? फिर वो रेजिडुअल मोमेंटम तो चला आ रहा है ना। द मोमेंट इन दिस लाइफ व्हेन बुद्धा वाज born, he had a certain karma. He had that in the latent stream there were so many karmas. Even with the Buddha.
That logic, some karma of the past can lead to a karma fall of the arhat being reborn.
No,
reborn.
not reborn.
Why not, sir?
Because all those things have been, all those cankers have been removed.
Sir, functional right.
Functional right, yes. All those only functional things are being. His chitta is not there, na? His chitta is not responding in that manner. कर्मा तो नए बनेंगे तभी होगा ना।
नहीं, कुछ पुरानों का कुछ ऐसा फल भी हो सकता है।
वो तो अगर होगा तो फिर वारंट कैसे बनेगा?
तो सर अगर ये वाला कैसे बचा हुआ था सर?
Because of the, you know, there are some karmas which are extremely powerful. Killing of a parent, killing of an arahant.
But sir, the question is that should have, उसका फल निकल जाना चाहिए उससे अरहंत बनने से पहले।
वो तो हमारी थ्योरी है।
क्योंकि otherwise then what is the meaning of being an arahant when your karma fal has not vanished?
No, karma fal is not vanished. That's not correct. Karma fal is not vanished. The habit patterns of that kind are vanished. So in future he will not create any karma. It is not being karma fal is vanished. He is not become a clean slate, no karma fal and nothing. Otherwise then why would Buddha have, after 45 years, why would he have striven? Because he had made that strong karma. इतने यौन्स तक ही मेरे karma कि मुझे लोगों को मुक्ति का मार्ग दिलाना है, तो वो भी तो कर्म ही था ना, wholesome karma which he had to strive for 45 years. बेचारे कितने कष्ट झेलने पड़े 45 साल तक उनको।
अब देखो इनको अपने माता पिता का वो जो भी जहर दिया था वो सामने आया, तो मतलब वो सामने आया तो उन्होंने उसको किस रूप में देखा?
Obviously he is fully enlightened. He just accepted it fully.
और फिर वो खत्म हुआ होगा।
The story goes that he was killed by those, not once, 3 times, because he had the power, psychic power of getting reborn. So in that moment he got reborn because he didn't want that these people should suffer. See the condition कि अगर इन्होंने एक अरहंत को मार दिया तो इनका तो हो गया काम. So he didn't want to die because of their robbers killing him. So he assembled his body with his psychic powers and then he meditated and realized that this is a past karma. And then he went to the Buddha, said Namaste, laid down his body.
लेकिन वो सारे कर्म जो है ना जैसे इतने स्ट्रॉन्ग होते हैं वो अनंत बनने पर ही उभर कर आते हैं।
ये तो कहने सकते
मतलब वो किसका
वो तो अनप्रेडिक्टेबल ना, वो तो बड़ा मुश्किल है क्या पाना।
यदि इतना कुछ कर लिया और इतना मेजर वो आ गया इस साल में तो
that is the way it is explained. I can't give more explanation than that. जितना मैंने पढ़ा है वही बता सकता हूँ. This is the way explanation sounds very reasonable to me because we normally think कि अरहंत हो गया तो बिल्कुल clean slate हो गया, it's become totally disinfected. ऐसा नहीं है ना. Example is before us 45 years Buddha had to strive and face all kinds of गाली गलौज मारपीट, लोगों को मारना, उनके ऊपर मिथ्या आरोप लगाना, वो सब लगा ना उन पे. क्यों लगा? किसी न किसी कर्म का फल ही तो है. एंड द बिगेस्ट कर्म वाज फॉर इयॉन्स ही हैड स्ट्रगल्ड कि मैं नहीं, मुझे लोगों को मुक्ति का मार्ग देना है, तो उस कर्म के रूप से तो 45 साल लगे रहे वो.
लेकिन अब जैसे जो अरहंत बन जाता है, मान लो इन्होंने तो देखा अपना पेरेंट्स का जो मर्डर वर्ड किया, अरहंत जो बन जाता है वो शरीर का त्याग भी तो कर सकता है.
करते हैं, सब नहीं करते. He also gave up ultimately.
मतलब I mean when there is no body, वो कैसे शरीर ही नहीं है, अनंत बन गया है.
ऐसे कैसे हो जाएगा? नाम रूप उपच्य हम विज्ञान, वही तो बता रहे हैं, विज्ञान और नाम रूप हमेशा जुड़े रहेंगे, ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता. जो आइडिया है ना कि कॉन्शियसनेस है इस संसार में जो व्याप्त है, वो आइडिया नहीं. इट इज नॉट इन ट्यून विद बुद्धा's टीचिंग्स.
बन गया, मान लो जो अनंत बन गया, इसको हो गया, अभी उसने शरीर छोड़ दिया
तो खत्म हो गई, तो बात ही खत्म हो गई. When he is dead, there is nothing more rebirth. after
Arhant-
rebirth.
Arhant.
For Arhant, by definition, there is no rebirth sankhara.
मतलब
That
इसका
ends.
मतलब before having rebirth he will extinguishes all past
All those karmas
karmas
which have the ability to give rebirth,
yes.
which have the ability to give rebirth. And thereafter, for the remaining part of his life, he will not be have the produce any new karma of that kind, because his chitta is not functional chitta. He operates in a functional manner. जो हमने पढ़े थे ना चित्त जो थे होलसम चित्ता में फंक्शनल चित्त थे बहुत सारे. हमारा भी एक फंक्शनल चित्त है, 5 door adverting consciousness is a functional चित्त. But for Arhan, every चित्ता is a functional चित्त.
अरहंत बन गए तो निब्बान को भी प्राप्त किया.
आप समझिए नहीं ना, समझिए नहीं. निब्बान का मतलब क्या है? आप निब्बान की मृत्यु समझ गई हैं कि निब्बान का मतलब एक वो समझ गई हैं? दो अलग अलग चीज़ें हैं. Nibbana is an experience of complete cessation of craving, aversion, delusion. That is the person who is born, who is alive. It's not a death experience. That is natural experience of the ending of the remaining momentum of the at the time of birth. At the time of birth, there is a momentum to the life force, and that life force momentum will continue.
जब अरहंत को सब ये खत्म हो जाएंगे सारे ये जैसे बताया आपने तो वो निर्वाण ही हो गया उसकी. ईश्वर क्या होगा?
समझे नहीं. अब वो निर्वाण शब्द का आप संस्कृत ट्रांसलेशन कर रही हो ना, वो हम निर्वाण को ही समझते हैं मृत्यु, वो नहीं है ना. निर्वाण का
मुक्त मुक्ति नहीं समझ
तो
मतलब दोबारा रिबर्थ तो
हाँ, so that he continued that life for some time. Buddha continued in the life after Nirvana for 45 years. Sariputta continued for some time. Everybody continued for some time. They didn't die immediately after Nirvana. There is an example of a person also that who died immediately after attaining Nirvana. That also is there, but that's not that. So that is the. Okay, some more time. Now this I have explained the Mahanidana Sutta. There are other suttas also which have slight different explanation. I put them, one more sutta I have put in the beginning, so we need not. Now this may seem that this is already complicated enough, but if you were to actually trace all the interconnections, then you have a look at the slide number 45. I just put it. If you were to trace all connections between all these factors, this is the kind of picture which emerges. It's a simplified picture of non-linearity. Simplified because many of them have been still ignored. Otherwise, तो बिल्कुल एक हो जाएगा, straight काला line हो जाएगी. So therefore, it is said that it is really deep. So let's leave it at that.
It's better, sir.
Now, in this Mahanidana Sutta, there is also this interesting extension given of Paticca Samutpadan society. How does the society fall in the same trap? And starting from Tanha, you can see the line is going Tanha Paticca Pariyesana, Pariyesanam Paticca Lobham, Lobham Paticca Vinichcho, Vinichchaya Paticca Chandarago, Chandarago Paticca Ajyosato, Ajyosanam Paticca Parigraha, Parigraham Paticca Macharya, Macharya Paticca Arakho, Arakho Paticca, so on. Danda, Dana, and so on. So what is pointing out that various evil phenomena in the society, the fighting and the violence in the society has its root in the craving eventually. Craving gives rise to seeking, seeking gives rise to gain, gain gives rise to decision making, that is go to desire and lust, gives rise to attachment, possessiveness, stinginess, then you are to guarding the possessions, and once you are guarding possessions, then there will be problems. So this is how in the society also the same phenomena starting from Tanha operates, and you have all kinds of evil phenomena of Kalaha Vivada, Dandadana, Sattadana. I mean, people taking stick, people taking Sattadana, I mean, holding on to Shastra, weapons, Kalaha Vivada, you understand. Tua Tuam means Tu Tu Meme, Kesuna means the slandering each other, and Aneka, different kinds of fights which happen, different kinds of evil tendencies which happen because of this.
So while we were discussing karma and karmfal, Silesh was saying, is this why they don't try to understand the karma in a linear way of cause and effect?
Yeah. It's not possible. Because Buddha says straight, there is a couplet of them, Kamma vipako achintayo. Tells him that it's not even the domain of arahants. Only a Samma Sambuddha can find out which karma is to produce such results. And that's why in one of the suttas, Ananda is able to get few answers from him. 5-6 लोगों के पूछ लेते हैं, वो कहाँ, इसका क्या हुआ है? My name is born, what will be born? Then he says, कब तक पूछते रहोगे? There are millions of people dying. Do you think I'll keep on answering to you? So he stops there. So this one, then there is another sutta, Sakka Panha Sutta, the question asked by Sakka on why is this problem happening. And there again, Issa Macharya Samyojana, from hate, hostility and harming each other, we move on to jealousy and avarice. Jealousy and avarice has its root cause in likes and dislikes. That is the root cause in desire. That is the root cause in thinking. That is the root cause in mental proliferation, associative thinking which happens. So in this way, there are many suttas where this is explained in a variety of ways. Then there is this Mahadukha Khanda Sutta, where sensual pleasure is seen as the cause of all conflicts. Punacha param bhikkhave kama hetu kama nidanam kama adhikaranam kama eva hetu राजा ओपी राजो ही विवादंती. राजा राजा से विवाद करता है, क्षत्रिय क्षत्रिय से, ब्राह्मण ब्राह्मण से, गृहस्थ गृहस्थ से, माता पुत्र से, पुत्र माता से. Whole story is said. At the root cause of it is sensual pleasures. So he says that's the extent of troubles which happen in the society because of that. And we can see very easily. And Kalaha Vivada Sutta we have already studied, how from affection all kinds of Kalaha Vivada arises. From affection arises contention, from desire arises affection, from pleasure and displeasure arises desire, pleasure and displeasure arises from contact, from the name and root, Nam Rupa and so on. So you can see the various variants which we find. Then interestingly, then there is Mahachattarika Sutta, here interestingly the Paticca Samutpada is explained not in the point of view, from the point of view of the usual way, but from the point of view of understanding the Eightfold Noble Path. So the sequential relationship is given like this. Samma Ditthissa Bhikkhave Samma Sankappa Pahoti. One who has right view, from him right Sankappa will rise. Samma Sankappasya Samma Vacha. Samma Vachasya Samma Kammanto. So the whole Eightfold Path is seen as sequentially arising from Samma Ditti. So there is a dependency shown that Samma Ditti is the key thing from which everything else will follow. And lastly is this famous Upanishad Sutta, where the Paticca Samutpada is taken in a positive direction, not by reversing it but by forward movement. So Avidya Sankhara, we have already seen Avidya for Sankhara, Sankhara Vijnana, Vijnana and all that, till we come up to Jati Upanisham Dukkham. Jatu, the birth gives rise to his conditions of suffering. Now from here the direction is changed. Sadhu Dukkha Upanishad Saddha. That's the pivot where the change is made. That if Dukkha can give rise to Saddha. If, of course there's the big if. Dukkha can give rise to despair and bitching and complaining also. But if it can give rise to Saddha, that is when somebody sees, the examples are given, somebody sees that a person came out of Dukkha following meditation. And we also see that way. How do people go into meditation? They see कि ये बहुत परेशान था, ध्यान करने गया, उसका लाभ हो गया, चलो हम भी करके देखें. थोड़ी सी श्रद्धा जागी तभी तो जाएगा. So that's how it is explained. Dukkha Upanishad is Saddha. Dukkha becomes a decisive support for Shraddha. And once it has become support for Shraddha, then the whole chain starts in a different direction. Saddho Upanishayam Pamojam, Shraddha se pramod jagta hai, it gives you joy. Pamoja Upanishad Piti, Piti Upanishad Prasiddhi. So Priti jagegi, Prashabdi jagegi, Sukh jagega, Sukh se Samadhi आएगी, समाधि होगी तो यथाभूत ज्ञान दर्शनम हो पाएगा, यथाभूत ज्ञान दर्शनम होगा तो detachment हो जाएगी संसार से, there will be disenchantment, disenchantment will lead to dispassion, dispassion will lead to liberation, and liberation will lead to complete knowledge of ending of asanas. So this is another very important sutta which does not go trace the path in a reverse manner, but takes us from suffering a different route. And I think it is a very great message. Suffering as the key factor in elimination of suffering itself. So these are some of the variants of Paticca Samutpada, and I thought we'll stop at that.
There's a question from Suresh that is seeking comfort in life a kind of sensual pleasure?
Yeah, in some sense it is.
It is.
In some sense it is.
Any more questions for the day?
Stop. So we will be meeting now, will be a big break. We'll be meeting now on 11th June.
When will you be traveling?
We are first traveling on 8th. We'll be to Haridwar. Then on 11th we are going to
I have
London.
visa.
Reason, yeah, I hope so. I hope.
England.
We're going to that Amravati monastery for 1 week. Then we'll go to US. US will be there for 2 weeks.
Which part in US?
Washington, Maryland. Washington, Maryland. There's the marriage of her brother's son. So we'll be there in Washington for 2 weeks. And then come back to London for a day. And then come back. So we'll be back on 4th June
So
evening.
when you come back to London, you'll go to Amravati again?
No. We'll stay for 1 day, meet my niece,
Acha.
try to meet
Okay.
some people, and then come. Well, basically to take a break because continuous journey is beyond my capability of my body. It will fall down otherwise. So then I'll come on 4th night, we'll be here. From 6th through to 10th, there is a 5-day workshop to be done in IIT.
So immediately on coming back, you're
Yes,
doing
1 day break is there. It is somehow that this pick maker they have arranged already. And so that is good.
So you'll be going through jet lag at that time.
We'll see how the things go. We'll see that also.
अच्छा ये लोग 5 डे भी करवा रहे हैं
इस बार उस पिक मैके का है ना, तो उसमें तो बाहर के भी लोग आते हैं ना. So,
It's a full day workshop.
no, there's a lot of confusion about the timing. Because their timing, which I did earlier, used to be 4 to 7 and 9 to 12. So there was a lot of difficulty in getting the people back, and so we asked them to keep it one session. So I had actually refused to come, but then Savita, they prevailed upon her, Kiran Seth also to India. And I said, okay, we'll come, we'll have one session every day, 8:30 to 1. 4.5 hours session, 5 days. Should be sufficient. So we'll meet now on 11th June. Namaste to all the friends.
Lacey Singh sir, have a safe trip.
Yeah, thank you. And my concern is that I'm traveling from London to Washington by United Airlines. There was no airline available otherwise. I was really surprised. All other flights, even
Now they're
hopefully they'll be careful at least for some time.
For some time they'll be very careful.